Hey guys, yes, it's Jody Sedrick with Zenware and RotoFest. We are in Melbourne, Florida, and we are visiting Justin Labato at JL Showroom Detailing, and it is another episode of Mafia Memoirs. And yes, we've already been talking, so I'm going to actually capture the stuff and then blend it, but wanted to let you know what's coming because it is an hour of awesomeness with Mr. Justin Labato. Make sure you stay tuned through the whole thing because it is filled with good nuggets.
They always ask us, and I'm like on a micro level, but if you're looking at a cross cut of the paint at a microscope, this is your paint. There's valleys. You're gonna get some down in there, but it's not gonna fill that up. You're not squirting it full. I mean, you'd have to.
Well, what I tell people is that the way it works is it's abrasion resistant. And the reason why it's abrasion resistant is because you create surface tension, which creates surface slickness. The more slickness, the less drag, the less opportunity to scratch the surface. And then they're like, oh, and I tell them, but if you bear down on it, or you have something that's in between there, then there's that opportunity for scratching. And then they're like, okay, I get it. When I sell it that way, their expectations go from everything they read on the internet back to reality.
Right.
And then they realize, okay, so we've got to really just make sure. Yeah. Boom, there you go. Now I've helped you help me, and now we're all good to go.
Giving them the maintenance thing too. You've got to get the abrasions off the paint. And just squirting it off at the local car wash doesn't work. You're not getting off. That's why Clay Bar pulls stuff out of the little valleys in the paint because they all have it. All paint has orange peel. It's just to what extent it has it.
Well, that's where with some of them we've learned that the high chemical resistancy for the coatings. We used to in the beginning tell people not to go through car washes. Don't go through tunnel washes, don't do this, don't do that. And what I found is because of the high repellency to the chemicals is, if you in moderation go through a tunnel wash, that's pressure, no, nothing dragging across the surface, swirl-o-matic, and it's just the chemicals at the lowest setting, as long as they're maintaining the dilution ratio machines in the back, and they're not clogged, they're not, just trash material going through, then they should be fine. Now, you're going to want to wash that the next time around. You're not going to want to use that source as a go-to source. But, if you've washed your vehicle a couple times by hand and then you're just busy with life and you've got to shoot through a tunnel just to knock off, that's much better than the elements sitting on the surface and dwelling and raining and dwelling, because then it creates that, what I call the concrete effect. When you add water to concrete, it turns hard. By itself, they're fine. One's just liquid, one's just dust and sand. And that's basically what, the contaminants are on a surface. One's just dust and sand, but once you introduce water to it, and then it dries in our wonderful oven of a state, and then it does that and does it, then they're like, well, my coating stopped working, or it's not there no more. Oh, it's there, you clogged it.
There's hard water spots on top of the surface. It's not that it's down into the paint, and that's why they can be corrected out.
Yeah.
I mean, corrections are just taking stuff that's on the surface and getting them out.
Defect removal. Yep, enhancement. But that's why we sell a crap load of the bead maker, though, because with the bead maker or any topper system, but especially bead maker, the polymer that's used, again, a polymer that PNS has that is, different and proprietary to what they use in that chemistry.
Yeah.
It helps strengthen the actual coating in the surface that's there, and it has more resistance to water spotting, element build, and it creates what I call the repair factor, or the repair value of what you could do in regards to maintaining and coming back to remove those little things that cause cosmetic blemishes easier than you would with some of the other products that are on the market. They're not bad products, it's just performance. Some perform better than others. It's like the Olympics versus the guys that are doing it amateur. Obviously the amateur guys are doing it, the Olympic guys are doing it, but the Olympic guys are where they're at because their performance level is much greater.
Yeah.
Same thing with chemistry. They just put more into it, so it made it that much better.
Yeah. Well, and that's a lot of it comes down to what you're paying for, right?
Yeah.
If I go into it knowing I'm paying for a 1 year and I've got to have maintenance all along versus a 9 year, it's an expectation, and I think that's a lot of people have a hard time giving their customers that expectation.
In order to get business moving, you've got to take that time.
Yeah, and we did it years ago. I started getting Jody and I both on Fridays at noon. We have a standing meeting that says, "Do not schedule me at this time." because inevitably we'd have somebody come in and schedule a meeting with us on a Friday afternoon. The developers are hammered, it's the end of their week, and so then we'd have all these notes for some new project, and by the time the next week rolled around, I'd forget half of it. So we started saying no more of that, and we'll only do updates between Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's just kind of the same thing. It's like I'm not going to schedule 4 coatings with 2-stage back to back on the same day. I can't. I gotta.
I try to separate those in the week because things come up, things happen. So it sucks because some of these guys will drop it off, we'll get it done. They'll be on a vehicle for 4 to 5 days, and it's like,
oh yeah.
What the heck did you do for that vehicle for 4 to 5 days? I understand the whole layering and correction thing, but there's some efficiency issues there that need to be addressed because I don't know. We sit on vehicles for 2 days, maybe 3, for meaning like the 3rd day is the delivery date for finalization of everything. Morning time, no later than the afternoon, but the rest of it, and that could be an SUV too.
Yeah, big thing.
It's just delegating the schedule the right way.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, so with that, do you find stuff like all the other products that you help influence, or even your IDA president this year, did that pull a lot of your time away?
No, I think I did for the most part. I think I managed my time very well, and it was a learning thing too, because I had to learn to adjust towards the end of 17 to make sure that 18 was going to be manageable. And then it's one of those things that you don't know how well you could do it until you're doing it.
Yeah.
So it was like, I think I got this, and then I just pulled the trigger to do it, like to make myself do it, to take that position, and then I made it happen. That was the thing, it was making it happen, wanting it to happen. So I didn't really, I feel like I got more time now, because I'm not president this year, because we're not running them consecutively.
Right.
They want to do it to where, if I wanted to be president again, there's an option there, but they can't do it consecutively. That's the bylaw rules. Which I respect. I wanted to move forward because of the consistency and the flow of things that were going from 2018. I thought would have, went into 2019 very well, with the influencing and stuff like that as the president. But new face, new things. It's going to be good though.
Yeah.
But no, it didn't take away much time. I learned how to manage it. On top of, I think the biggest thing now is like managing my schedule for traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to make sure that in this book that it's set in stone, and my day off afterwards, coming back from traveling, like taking that following Monday off, that it's all done, that it's scheduled. Because if I don't schedule it, then I'm screwed, and I got to move customers around. And the only reason why I should be making a phone call to a customer is to check to see if they're coming in, or to let them know their vehicle's ready for pickup.
Yeah.
Right.
It shouldn't be, hey, some things came up. That's what they'll call me for. I don't need to call them for that.
And that's their prerogative. It's okay for them to do that. Right?
Exactly.
But now you probably have. I mean, you have. I'm sure cars that just you work on, right? You have specific customers that request. Do you ever have anybody that requests you're the only one that works on it, or? That's good.
Reason why is because I believe in not being a boss and being a leader. You build a team that reflects on you. And if that team can reflect on you and they do everything, even though you repeat yourself repetitively, repetition is everything. Quality repetition is even better, because at that point they know that there's a process and a system. As long as they follow that, then they're good.
Right.
If there's any snags or resistance in that process for any reason, variable, something that they can't figure out, then they come grab me. And then I show them why something went wrong, so they learn from it. So it's more of a learning experience. And that allows them to, next time around, they don't have to bug me. But I'm always sticking my head out there, because the shop don't open unless I'm here.
Right.
Things don't come in or leave unless I'm here. I check everything in between. And with John having my back on a lot of stuff, it helps. And there's times where, he's overlooked things that I'll make sure that doesn't happen again. But I also have a rule to where I don't mind if you spend the time on it. If you got to spend an extra 30 to 45 minutes on something, golden, you're paid. But as soon as you don't take the time because you're trying to rush and you slip and you miss it, I'm deducting a half hour to an hour out of your pay.
Yeah, because then you got to redo it.
And then you got to redo it. And for that reason, when you hit someone's pockets, they take you a bit more serious, because that's honestly, at the end of the day, regardless of whatever people think about, doing stuff for passion, it comes down to money. You got to pay your bills. You got to take care of your family. And as soon as you mess with somebody's money, people tighten up real quick. And you do it respectfully. It's a give and take. You can't just take. So it's one of those things where they know there's enough room for play, but at the same time, it's also getting the job done.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the key to it. I mean, it's like everybody's got to buy into it. If you get somebody that doesn't, want to be there. I mean, I heard the gal coming in. That was your linen gal talking to the guy that didn't want to be there. If you don't want to be there, don't be there.
No, the biggest thing is just that it's good leadership, building a good team, training them properly based on the system at hand that works in your shop. Everybody's shop's a little different, so my system versus somebody else's system, there may be a cross within it not working versus something working better. And the efficiency of the shop, the layout of the shop, where your tools are, where your compressor is, where this is at, where that's at. All those play a big factor in the efficiency of everybody working together in harmony to make sure that the job gets done. And then them knowing and being educated on not just the tools, but the products and why they work. And that's the biggest thing is like, I like to pass that knowledge down. I'm not afraid if they go get work. If they want to get work on the side, I help them do that.
Yeah.
I have jobs that I don't want to take on here that I'll be like, hey John, you want to go take a look at this? I'll give them your card. I have his cards in my book here. I have his cards on my thing. That way he gets side work when he wants it. He's got all the right tools to do it.
Yeah.
He's not going to take away from me. Those aren't my customers anyways.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I mean, everybody says there's enough work for everybody. There is to an extent. The problem is when you get into the specialty line of work, like the coatings and the correction, those are certain kind of customers for certain kinds of services.
Yeah.
So there's a very small group of those people versus the remainder that are all wash and wax customers.
Yeah.
So there is, but there isn't. But at the same time, if you have a track record and a reputation, no one can really take away from that. As long as you continue to do the right thing day in and day out. If you lose a customer because they wanted to go somewhere else due to price,
They were going to
and
be
you know
gone
the
anyway.
integrity of your work was always on,
Yeah.
then whatever, then you're not a customer. Plus, we're not contracted.
Right.
For a few customers I do lose every year, which happens in our industry. It's a luxury service. Nobody has to do it. It's whether they can afford it. It's the luxury to do it. Or pure laziness, one of the two. Let's just be honest, I don't want to wash my car.
Yeah.
I've got better things to do with my day, like my hair, my nails, the other luxury services. No, but it's one of those things that, you can't sweat the small things when it comes to that. When your reputation is there and you're always doing the right thing and you know that, and somebody leaves and you didn't do nothing wrong, then that's fine because somebody else is going to walk in. I've had it happen plenty of times. I got to the point where it became a peace of mind, where someone would be like, I'll talk to my husband about it.
Yeah.
It's like, you were here to talk to me. If your husband needed to know, you would have been here with him.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. I got to go talk to when a man says that, I got to go talk to my wife. I'm like,
Yeah, well, that's always the excuse, right?
That's what it is.
But, yeah.
Sometimes it's legit. I won't take away from, when people, have relationships where they work together, that's respectable. But unfortunately, what happens is the downside of that is so many people abuse that excuse that you don't know when it's true or when it's not.
Yeah.
And that's where it's just, that's where you can make the fun of it and, poke at it. Like, but there are some cases where it's respectable. I get it. You're financially together and she sees it fit and then she appreciates it just as much as you and then they both come in. I love it because then I won both of them over. But then you do get some of the guys that, again, that's an out for them.
Yeah.
I'll talk to my spouse about it.
Yeah. You're going to have that. You get that in every industry.
Yeah.
So
But
that's
it's a revolving door. I mean, again, it's reputation and just doing the right thing. I talked about at Air Force One, integrity. And I've harped on that with these guys all the time. It's not what I do or what you guys do when I'm out there. It's what you're doing when I'm not out there.
Mhm.
That's what makes a difference. I was like, don't do it for me. Do it for yourself. Impress me. Be better than me. If you could be better than me and impress me, then that will make my life easier and also give more room for pay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So everybody's winning.
Right. Well, and it's not like you're not gonna see it, right? I mean, it's not like this isn't an industry where you get somebody off the street that doesn't know what they're looking for, that opens up a detail shop and goes, I don't know, I'm just interested in it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hire you to do it, and everything looks great. I mean, when there's a problem, and you're like, hey, there's a problem right here, and then they have an opportunity to correct it.
Yeah.
And there's so many you know, we get two sides of the industry. We get the retail side, and then we get the dealership side. And the dealership side it's nasty.
That's a scary.
Because it is all just bam, bam, bam. I got to get it,
Yeah.
get it in, get it out, get it in, get it out, and it's all low priced, high volume, and to me that leads to low performance, if you will, low quality.
High
'Cause they really
turnover
don't
of
care.
talent.
Super high turnover, and high turnover of people. A dealership
Yeah.
kicks you off the lot for no reason whatsoever.
I tell customers, and excuse me, now, so are we using this instead of, okay. So I tell customers, and I'll be honest, I tell customers, nothing against the dealerships, but again, going back to the majority of how it's viewed. This day and age, everything gets a title put on it. Everything gets categorized. Let's just be honest. So with that said, when I talk to people, especially locally, about dealerships, I tell them, hey, listen, 9 times out of 10, the dealership doesn't own the detail department. It's subbed out. But either way you cut it, whether it's subbed out or owned, the turnaround for employment at a dealership is higher than McDonald's. So you wouldn't ask the guy flipping the burgers in the back to go make you a nice grade A USADA freaking,
Yeah.
you know, steak fillet and expect it to come out.
Yeah.
No. So why would you expect that from a dealership
Right.
when you're just because you have a quality brand doesn't mean the perceived value of the brand reflects on the detail department.
Right.
So what, you drive a Maserati? They're still washing them back there like it's a freaking Crown Vic from 1990.
Yeah, and the thing is that the guys that do really well at dealerships on the detailer side, the guys that do really well at dealerships understand that, and they understand
And
their
eventually
place.
they break off and do their own thing.
They do their own thing,
That's exactly
and
what
or
happens.
they're really good at dealing with a high volume of dealerships. Like you get your example of a headlight restoration up there. I was actually at a dealership in Idaho, and they have two dealerships right next to me. One of them is Lexus, and the other one I think is just Nissan. We were in the back, and there's a guy that's doing PDR, and they do a lot of different stuff. They do detailing, low-end detailing stuff, and they actually admit that it's low-end, it's not high volume.
Own it.
And so he comes back there, and gal comes running out, and she's like, you got to do a headlight restoration. I just told the customer in there you do a headlight restoration. And he's like, yeah, absolutely, no problem. And she leaves, and he's like, I do not have any idea how to do it. So I actually had to help him to learn. I was like, okay, let's tape off the hood and all this stuff, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do, you know, you're gonna lightly sand down this, and you're gonna get out this head. And I showed him how to do it, and he's like, okay, we do it now, and we do it for $65. And he just instantly created this thing. But that's what I think is the adaptability to the dealership, because he could have just said, yeah, we don't do that, and I guarantee you they would have found somebody else that did what he was doing plus headlight restoration, and now that's one of his service offerings is headlight restoration.
Now
Because
he's the go-to guy for that.
yeah, because
That's
he's
the other
like
thing.
okay, I'm adaptable.
Yeah.
I'm at a dealership.
He is
let's go.
the service. Without him, that service don't exist now, unless
Yep.
they hire somebody. But then, now they're testing the waters to make sure that that person can perform the same way that they like the other guy. Now it becomes to where it's a situation where hopefully it works.
Yeah.
And then I thought they keep filtering through. But
Yeah.
I like that because I like the people who are willing to take on a challenge and not know, but yet learn and be humble learning it, and then be able to perform it, and then learn the little things within that service to do it better and understand it better.
Right.
Those are the guys that end up leaving the dealership, or hopefully the owner of the dealership sees the value in them and pays them accurately.
Right. Or they become a sub, right? And a lot of the guys we deal with are the subs for the dealership. They go to that dealership every day or every Wednesday. It's a route. It becomes a route deal.
Yeah.
And they just go around to them, and they just go around the thing, and they're like, hey, I got these 15 cars. And we were telling you earlier, there's a guy that he doesn't have to put the VIN numbers. They just trust him. I washed 15 cars, and they just pay him. He is the go-to guy on that dealership because they have a relationship where now they trust him as the partner at that dealership, that he's not going to take advantage of and say he washed 18 when he just, 16. So.
And it's, see, that's the problem, is that, again, it becomes a numbers game and it gets categorized. The majority, I mean, the vast majority of dealerships, unfortunately, don't have that employee mindset in the detail department. They don't have that level of an employee that has the craft to operate quality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just go, get it in, get it out. Paid on piecework. I mean, gosh, if I was paid on piecework, I'd have cars lined up out here, you know? I would look like a junkyard.
Right, but
You
the
know?
problem is with piecework is you and I would figure out in the first 10 minutes, okay, what service gets paid the most, because that's the one I'm going to be
Yeah.
I'm the expert.
Yeah.
Oh, you need that done? Come to me, because I'm going to knock
Yeah.
it out, right? I get paid twice as much for that one. There is one that we were at a training at the rag company, and it was Jason Kilmer, the Sandman.
Yep.
I went to his training, and actually the BMW dealership sent all their guys down to take Jason Kilmer's training so that they could do a better service. And I actually was very impressed by that because they were actually dealership employees, and they cared enough to go above and beyond just the get it in, get it out. They want to actually service their customers there in Boise. So I was actually really impressed by that one dealership there. There's some other ones that are.
No, Jason is, gosh, he's got a reputation that I don't even think he realizes he has, because
Right.
so many people respect him in in the detail industry. I can only imagine. I hope that it carries over in the body shop industry. But
Oh yeah.
the body shop industry has their own issues as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
And their own egos, just like
Yep.
the
Oh, yeah.
detail industry. But no, and I would love to take, a course, having the time to take a course just to learn. But my problem is, I like PPF. I took two different courses with PPF. Spent some good money doing it, and it's like I still haven't utilized it yet. We stay so stinking busy with what we do.
Yep.
That it's like, do I want to take on something else and add that much more? And then I look at like, okay, time. That would be me doing it. But right now I have a good thing going. I can add that in. And then same thing with sanding. It's like, we can do it, and we do it now, and we do it well. Can we do it better? Absolutely. Can we get trained better? Oh yeah, especially with him? Yeah. But how often would I be offering it?
Yeah.
Because it's something, again, that I don't do because I don't want to take away from too much. Plus, I try to go after the new condition vehicles. The older ones we do get, when they see the value in what we do, they're typically well-maintained vehicles anyways. Because the way I've seen it, the track record of vehicles that are neglected, one, again, it's a luxury service. They couldn't afford to maintain it. And then it got so neglected by the time it got to a point where they couldn't stand it no more, that when they finally bring it to you to get done, it's so bad off that there's so much money that needs to go into it. There may be a great transition, but to get it to that transition is going to cost a good amount of money, and they can't afford it again.
Right.
So it's like, again, you're kind of filtering out that clientele by the premium level of service.
Yeah.
People call it high end. It's not high end. It's just premium. It doesn't matter what the brand of the vehicle is.
Right.
I get guys that come in with Toyota Priuses that are spending $1,500, $2,000 on coating services, versus the guy with the Porsche who's like, oh, I don't know if I want to spend that $500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the value of what we're trying to preserve is much greater, and you want to look at it like it's just gonna slap some wax on it, like. Okay.
Yeah, and that I think is a different mentality in car ownership, right? Somebody that takes real pride in the car. You can, people laugh at cars all the time, but you can look at somebody that's got a 1998 Honda, and
That's
their pride and
love
joy,
that
baby.
car.
Yeah.
That is everything.
Like a Prelude
to them.
owner.
Yeah.
We touched a whole other realm right there. No, you're right though. They look at it in a perspective that their value is that's their Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm.
That's
They
their
busted
Porsche.
their butt to get it, and they're proud of it. They're the guys on the weekend taking care of it.
And that's where somebody who provides premium car care services steps in and says, I can help you do that.
Yeah.
These are the different levels we offer to hopefully be within your budget.
Some of it's just knowledge, though, too, and not understanding how to use the tools that you have. I mean, all the tools are available. Like you were telling that guy, I love you told the guy that walked in here a minute ago, it's not like some secret juice that you can't get your hands on. Everybody can buy this stuff, but it's knowing how to use it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can guarantee you I can burn through the paint in a lot of things in no time at all, right? You just, in too much pressure, tilting it sideways, getting on an edge, getting up on a high spot. You can burn through the paint, and somebody's like, oh, this is a crappy tool, it's a crappy product, whatever. No, you just don't know how to use it.
And it's a
So-
win-win. If they go buy it, for example, and they
Right.
screw up, they're coming back to you.
They're coming to you anyway, yeah.
They go buy it and they do it right. You may not see them as often, but when it comes back, that surface area of whatever they use, however they use it, is so well maintained that it just made my life easier.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
And I may not see him as much, but that's on me to fill that void.
Right.
That's where coming into the office, doing my follow-up calls, keeping up with my marketing, the SEO, all the things that go into play with how you market yourself and how you sell yourself are what fill the voids in the schedule for the customers that you don't see as often as you would like to, for whatever reason.
Oh yeah, and it works in tons of industries. Ours does the same thing. There's guys that work on their own stuff, and then they come back. I think, in fact, Rich Sharon was telling me the story of how he got involved in detailing. I'm like, you're a gym owner. How did you get involved? He told me, I completely screwed up this Corvette. And you know,
The
next
red
thing you know,
one.
he's taking Rennie's training, and he's buying all the tools, and then he's a detailer. You know, it's like
Yep.
his whole screw up turned into a side career for him.
Yeah,
Which that's how it works.
But
you know?
that's how I got started. I was laid off. I never detailed a car in my life. I was passionately involved in boxing, and that's what I did. And so sweating and hard work was not a thing.
Yeah.
You know, going to the gym and hitting the bag and getting punched in the face and hitting pads, that was hard. You know, getting winded, getting punched in the chest after getting winded, that was hard. So a little bit of sweat into some work, not so bad. And that's how I got into it. I basically just like one day cleaning my car, and I was like, I can dig this. And I was unemployed, so I was like, maybe I should try doing my own thing.
Huh.
And the next thing you know, I got a couple numbers from here, actually. From the car audio guys up front. Gave me a couple numbers, went down the list, did my process of elimination. Most of them were like, you want to start your own detailing thing and you want to come work for us? That ain't happening.
Yeah.
We're talking 08. You know, 08, the mentality was like, you're not working for us, and then leaving and starting your own thing. And then I found a guy who let me work for him, and then 6 months later, boom. But that was just a crazy, weird thing that happened, you know? He had an opportunity, so his opportunity gave me an opportunity, and one thing led to another, and then I just didn't look back. I was like, shit, I gotta grab this and run with it. You know, it's the only time I could ever say in my life at this point, because I just turned 25, that I could say I owned a business. You know, because everybody, and I think it's funny now, especially being more of an entrepreneur mindset and being involved in multiple things and creating other streams of revenue other than when I just started. You know, the only way I was able to get paid was by washing a car, literally. Mm-hmm. Now I've got multiple streams and invested into other business. So it's like when I think about it and I look at people like, yeah, I own a business. But is it profiting? Is it a real business? I mean, is there something you're really working, or did you just go get a couple business cards made from Vistaprint and get involved with somebody who has some great ideas and say, I own a business, so you could go around town parading around as like you're the rest of everybody else that owns businesses that are actually putting in the work and have to pay to play with taxes and all that stuff. And I find that funny because it's a lot of people will do that. They're like, yeah, I got this side thing. I put on kids' birthday parties. I wouldn't necessarily call that a business, but I mean, if you're making a couple bucks here and there, it's more of a hobby that makes you money. But okay, you know.
Yeah. Well, and I think that is very reflective of our entire society. There's a lot of times we put on a face and we want to make it look like we're bigger and badder and better than we are, right? I mean, that's
Thank you, social media.
Yes, exactly. I can step out.
We started with MySpace, where it all was a little rocky, and then when we got that
started.
Facebook launched, oh man, I was a scientist one day.
That's right. That's right. I was telling my kids the other day, I snapped a picture next to something, and I said, that's my new Tinder profile.
That's right. No, it's not like in elementary school where you dress up for what you want to be when you grow up. What do you want to be today on Facebook?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's really where we're at. I mean, you got people that'll, especially in the detailing industry, I mean, it's such an image thing because that's what you're promoting, is making your vehicle look great. So it's all about images. And there's certain people that, you know, as we walk around in your shop and you look at it, there's more than an image, right? I mean,
there's a brand
into
here.
Branding the whole thing. I mean, the floor, right? Everybody doesn't have a nice floor, and it's because it serves a purpose, you know? And everything about it is an imaging and a branding, where it's different than me going in and snapping a picture next to the hood of a BMW and being like, you know,
you just washed.
Here's my smolder. You know, it's like my neighbor's car. That, you know, God, I hope Justin has something cool in the shop because I need a new profile picture.
Oh,
you know?
I love that. The ones that stand next to the Lamborghinis that they found in a Walmart parking lot. Not that anybody who owns a Lamborghini shops at Walmart. Most likely they don't. They're more the Target kind. But
exactly.
But you're absolutely right. It's an image thing. That's coming from, again, the boxing background, and I think there's a lot of things that gave me the tools I needed to become where I'm at, but people, things, life experiences, and that's the thing, it's life experiences. You learn from certain things. You know, you get people who come into shops and they look around. If I'm with somebody and that other person walks in and they start to look around, if these walls were blank, there's no storytelling.
Right.
I need a story to be told without speaking. And that's where when they come in, you go to an art gallery, it's quiet in an art gallery. You hear whispering, you hear people walking around, but they're in awe of what they're looking at because the story tells itself.
Right.
That's what it comes down to with any business. You need to have them walk in and let the story, the presentation of your shop, your business, have a story to tell. So when they're there and they're just looking at things, or they're wandering eyes, they could be completely engaged with you. But some people have wandering eyes.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of like, then they're back to you. Then, they're back to you. Which, that's a mental thing most of the time.
Right.
But that, again, helps with the story. Helps paint the picture. Because now you're in the picture. This is my frame that you're looking at.
Yep.
So everything within this frame you're paying attention to. And, of course, I'm the main focus.